What's up, y'all? This program was sponsored by Inspirion Concepts, bringing all your design ideas to life. From anything from public speaking to design to photography to video editing to portraits. You name it, we got it. Follow us today on Instagram at Inspirion Concepts. Now, without further ado, let's get back to the show. What's poppin', peeps? This is your boy Kevin, and that's Neil, and we are your TwinNation sensation, and we coming to you direct.
I like that. That's hot.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. So yeah, we've been out for a minute, and I just wanted to discuss a few things that have been on my mind, and a couple of things that I've been noticing, and one of those things is the fact that we in 2020 and a lot of things have been happening.
Yeah.
A lot of things. We're just in the third month. You feel me? So I'm just sitting here and I'm like, with everything that's been happening, the accidents, tragedies that's happened, passing of the great Kobe Bryant and everything.
Yeah, man, I felt that one.
And
I felt that one.
When I see how, and especially with the spread of the disease and everything, and when I see how that's been playing out, I'm just like, it's so important to keep and maintain the right mindset, because if you allow that to overpower you, you just give up on life. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So right now, one of the things, man, that I just wanted to get out there is just that you gotta pay attention to how you interact, how you operate on a day-to-day basis. You feel me?
Right.
And the importance of that is that how you foster your relationships, cherish your relationships, and do your best at your jobs, and live your best life.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
True. That's true.
Live your best life. Do the things that you need to do to get ahead, and it's so very important. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And sometimes I think about it, and I'm saying to myself, I've had conversations with some of my friends, with some peeps, and everybody goes through something.
Right.
And on top of that, sometimes some people, when they combine and they look at all the issues that are happening in the world and all the accidents and all the controversial stuff and the diseases and everything, and they take that and they combine it sort of with their personal issues, and it's it just overwhelms them, and I can bet that. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that it's a process. It's a daily process that you have to take to strengthen yourself to navigate.
And that's the thing. That's true. That's the thing that I think about that sometimes. And even when I have conversations with certain people, and I realize that there are a lot of things that they don't fully know yet. They're not fully understanding it. And I'm like, the problem is they don't really think that they have somebody or something that they can emulate that from, or even when they do have somebody or something that they can emulate that from, it's they don't even know how to apply it because they can't quite relate.
Exactly.
For instance, I was talking to one of my mentors about 2 days ago, and he was saying that a lot of times people hear about persons that are successful and that are just traveling the world, living their best life and everything.
Yeah. And
when it boils down to it, and they sit and they think about it, they're like, damn, I can't really relate to that. It's they're like a superhero and everything, and you wonder how do they do it?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's it. That's the thing. I mean, even when I've spoken to some of the greatest of the greats, I realized that to some people they're like a superhero, as you said. They just in a different class by themselves, so you can't really relate to how they live or how they got there.
As you even mentioned that, I'm thinking to that point, to the point we made earlier on when we were having that discussion on the phone.
Right.
The way you operate right now, if you want to get to a certain level and live the best life that you want to live, you have to learn to reverse engineer it. That's
exactly
the whole point.
Exactly. I feel the same.
Like, okay, you see yourself in 5-6 years from now, and at that point, you're like, okay, how do I get to that place where I'm traveling the world? What did I do to start traveling the world? Okay, I was saving up. How was I saving up? I went ahead and I got me a job or whatever it is. And while getting the job, I started cutting down on certain things that I would do, certain things that I was spending on, whether it's going out a lot, whether it's buying stuff that I don't need, all of that. And then you backtrack all the way to where you are right now.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is you start to create a clear path for yourself. Not saying that the path from where you are right now is straightforward to, you know, where you want to be or to that point of success, because of course it's all a matter of planning. That's the important part.
Right,
and the
right,
best
right.
way to plan, you can do it two ways. You can plan from where you are right now going forward to where you want to be, but then that's going to be harder because you're going to literally have to be going through and trying to figure out what kind of struggles am I going to have to face to get there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And when that doesn't happen, or you can do it the other way, you can backtrack from that point on where you've actually already won and said, okay, what were the things that I did to get to that? Okay, what were the things that I did to get to the things that I did in order to get to that? And you trace it all the way back to yourself. So what you start to realize at that point is you start to see the obstacles that can possibly appear and stop you from getting to the next step.
Exactly, that's true.
Like,
That's
I
better.
take, a plain example. I always said that I wanted to have a certain lifestyle, and I'm like, okay, I have these great ideas. I want to create these things. I want to do these things. So I always saw myself at the place where I'm like, okay, I can do this. All right, so what did I do to get to that? And I'm like, I meditated more, had, clarified my mind. I exercised more, worked out more, so I was in a better shape, better frame of mind to do it. Yeah. And so I got to that point of actually getting that done. And that was just a great, phenomenal move for me. You understand?
Exactly.
That was really how it was. And so for those out there who probably struggle with the self-doubt and trying to be like, yo, I want to get to that level, but I don't really know how I'm going to do that. And it's just, it's a straightforward process.
It's a straightforward process. That's true. And I always make sure that I plan stuff out, or I pay attention to my personal progress. And that for me has proven to be something that's just incredibly important over time. So no matter what happens, the situation is and everything, it always works itself out, Yeah. And I mean, for me, it's the same thing as you say before, like, I would literally sit down and like write a journal. I always tell people like, yo, journal writing is so important because of the fact that you get to keep track of the things that you need to do. And I know it's hard because who's always got the time to write down stuff in a journal and all that stuff. I get that. It is difficult, but at the end of the day, you kind of have to tell yourself that, all right, I need this. I need to do this. So because of that reason, you gotta you set some time apart. They always say you section your time. Yeah.
And
right.
out by the hour or every 2 hours or whatever the case is. It's important for you to do that because now what begins to happen is you have time that's more allocated, and you can pretty much know that, okay, during this hour, if I'm doing something else that I am not supposed to be doing, I'm aware of it rather than just being lost to that day, just being lost going on and on and on, not being sure what to do. Because I remember that there were times on a weekend, almost everybody, you got that weekend vibe, your guards let down and everything. So you're not fully in tune with getting work done particular. You're more like, okay, man, I just came off a long work week. It's too much. I can't be bothered with that right now. So you kind of just, you don't, plan anything specific. And then what ended up happening to me was, half of a day would go by and I wouldn't get much stuff done.
Right.
Or, the entire day would go by and I wouldn't get much stuff done. So what I realized for myself is when I started writing that stuff down, whether, okay, this is what I want to accomplish for today, or this is what I want to accomplish for the week. I started noticing that I was able to keep track of it.
Right.
And it made it easier for me to actually get stuff done and get more done at that,
Right. And I mean, you hit a really good point there, because that's the challenge with a lot of people. That's the problem with a lot of people. We all suffer from procrastination. We all suffer from falling with the distractions and everything that we face. So having something that it's like a miniature way of keeping track or holding us accountable for what it is that we need to get done. So you're right. You're definitely right. I just believe that for stuff like that,
and
we just need to figure it out more.
That's why it's so important. That's why it's so important. I say it all the time.
Right.
Like, if you get ready, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's a powerful thing. It is a powerful thing because it's the truth. That reality is, if you are always putting yourself, you don't, not to say you always have to be training for something, or practicing something or whatever, but to have yourself in the right frame of mind. Like, okay, if the economy crashes tomorrow, you lose a job, what's gonna happen then? Not to say you were doing something the entire time, but because of the fact that you've been taking mental notes or learning new skills, new trades on the side, that makes you more valuable, that makes you more marketable.
Right.
At that point, if you actually do lose your job, then it's not something that you can say is to a detriment. Like, I always practiced it from day one to be able to be sustainable or whatever.
Gotta understand.
I was to lose my job, if I was to get fired, I don't have to worry because of the fact that I have skills and connections and networks that will enable me to find or create new opportunities in order to actually make a living. Now at that point, it would just depend on me. It would depend on me.
It would, of course. And even so, more importantly, you get to grow a lot more when you find means and ways of depending on yourself. When you find means and ways of building on your craft, building on your values. What that does is it makes you more marketable. It makes you sought out by different people, because it's a difference in you calling somebody up to say, yo, I need you to help me to do this.
It's crazy.
Or somebody calling you to say, I need you to do this for me, because of the fact that you're good at so many different things. So I feel that, the best thing you can do in today's society is to work on yourself, work on all your strengths, work on all the things that you're good at.
That's it right there. That's the problem.
That you enjoy.
It's the problem, and I look at it like that from time to time, where I'm like, listen, a lot of people, like, they don't practice doing that. And what it does is it interferes with the flow of everything else.
Right.
It definitely does, and interferes with the flow of everything else in the sense that it prevents you from thinking a certain way. So because you're not thinking a certain way, you're not guarded against any issues that happen, whether it be like a world crisis or a tragedy or an accident or stuff. I mean, we see how the year is going on right now.
Right.
And not to say it's the year that's going on, because things happen every day, but because of the fact that there's so much out there to distract us from what it is that we really want to accomplish, it just throws our game off altogether. So we might cling to a job a little bit more to say, oh man, I want to make sure that I can pay my bills. I don't want to go nowhere no more because of the fact that I want to get home safe. Because I don't want to be near something if something explodes or goes off or goes wrong. And then you're like, yo, why? If you think like that, now you're at a place where you're not even trying to figure out how to earn an extra
not even earn an extra dollar or an additional stream of income, but you're not doing something that at age 50 or age 60, you can look back and say, I did that. I love that. I enjoyed that. Because the greater threat to being afraid of taking a risk or being afraid to live your life, your best life, is looking back when you're older and saying that you regret it all, or you regret not trying, or what if, or if I had known. That's just it. I'm always doing that. And that's why I try to tell people, you have to learn how to remove that fear. Practice to harness your value.
And you're right about that. And I see that happen a lot of times. I see that happen even in cases where people, they wonder to themselves, like they live their whole lives being comfortable.
You're right. I'm always doing that. And that's why I try to tell people, like, if there's one thing that I know is, like, you got to practice to harness the things that you're good at.
You got to practice to break away from your own fears.
Your value.
Yeah.
Because your value is essentially what amounts to, not just the value, but when you apply your value, or when you literally deliberately add value to someone else's life, to someone else's business, it adds more essentially to you. You have more resources, you have more people, you have more, your finances go up. And so that enables you to be able to live a certain lifestyle. It brings you closer to being able to live the lifestyle that you dreamed of, that you actually want.
Exactly.
So the first thing is, you have to learn how to remove that fear. Once you remove that fear, then you're in a much better place, like a much, much better place to be able to accomplish what you wanted, what you set out to get. That's it. That's all it takes.
That's it. That's it. And once you begin to do that, it's not just doing that too. Once you begin to make it a habit, that's the important part.
I'm sure we're gonna come up with
it's harder.
We're gonna come up with some more points, because I know people definitely out there that want to know about this, that want to hear about this, that want to learn how this all works.
You're right.
So
I don't mind that.
I know that it's definitely something that we want to get into, and we want to try, and we want to understand, and we want to master. So when we get back into
we gonna do it. We
and
gonna
start doing our thing.
We gonna continue. Shout out to our sponsors, Inspireon.
Even as we mentioned that, doing more shows and everything. I'm scheduled to do a show in Montego Bay this weekend.
Yeah, for real.
So I'm pumped about that. I'm really pumped about that, because I'm like, yo, it's not my first presentation, but to know that it's gonna happen on such a scale, because I connected with somebody. I connected with my boy Akeem, and he was filling me in on the fact that he has contacts, some persons who wanted to hear from some public speakers, motivational speakers.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay. He invited me to actually come down there and present on some topics. So that should be good. That should be really fun. That should be really epic.
Yeah.
I'll update that and of course, allow everybody to know how that turns out. But at the end of it all, I just want to make sure that I live in that purpose of what value can I add to make somebody else's life better. Right. My life will automatically get better once I do that.
Make someone else's life
I'm not going to explode on a just a linear. It's going to be wide.
It's going to be like
and
a radius.
That's exactly what I want.
Yep. Radio.
Mm-hmm. So it's all good, man. It's all progress. It's all good. So we in it. We in the building. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we doing it big, and we always, as I said, man, it's a good thing that we were brought together. Shout out to our sponsors,
our film crew.
Yeah, sponsors. I'm just so grateful for how things have turned out. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna make sure that we have some new content next week.
we got some new stuff. We're gonna make sure that we keep coming up with more because they're discussions that
man. So we just want to wrap this up, and we gonna get into it in our next week's podcast. We gonna release the preview of what it is that we'll discuss, and we gonna make it happen. We gonna definitely make it happen.
All right, cool. So I'll see y'all next week. We gonna get some more. We gonna get into it some more. We can discuss some more things. Cool.
All right, peeps. We'll hit you. We'll holler at you next time. Next week.